Hello guys, welcome to Coding Essentials. Today's topic is form. This is the most important topic in HTML. A form is used to collect user input. The form tag can contain one or more than one types of form elements like input, label, select, text area, field set, etc. In this video we will cover the label element and different types of input element. So let's get started with the label element. So label is mostly used for the user reference what to input. So there is an for attribute inside the label which is mainly used for backend purposes, and it is equivalent to the id in the input element. So they both should be equal for the backend purposes. Okay, so now let's go to input. Okay, there are many input elements depending on the type you define it here. So we'll start from the text type. So for understanding the text type, we'll take an example of a form in which the user has to uh, input his or her first name and the last name. So let's get started. Label first name, then line break, then label, sorry, I'm sorry, input for the first name, type text, then f name, line break, then label for the last name, line break, then input, type text, name l name, and line break. So let's save it and see. Okay, so as you can see, the type text will give a single box to input the first name and last name to the user. So you can XYZ, you can write anything. Okay. Also, one more thing, we can add placeholder attribute for the default name like Chandler Bing. Save it. So as you can see, this is the placeholder of last name and the first name. So this was all about the text type. Now let's go to radio button. So for understanding the concept of radio button, we'll add a field inside this form, the gender. So let me give the heading gender. Okay. So first label male, then input type radio. Okay, so in this concept, you will understand the concept of name attribute. So what's first we'll write all the three with different names. So this is male, then label, female, then input, type radio, then name female, sorry, yeah. Now label others and input type radio and name other. Okay, so now let's see what happens. Okay, so I have a male gender, and we should not be able to select the other two genders, but it is allowing us to select all the three. So you have to, for restricting the user to only select one of the field, you need to give all the three name attribute as one and the same. So let's give gender to all three. Okay, now save it. Oops. Now save it and open in browser. Okay, so now let's select one. Okay, so now it's restricting us to select only one of the three options. So name attribute will group them in one and restrict the user by selecting more than one options. Okay, so this was the concept of radio buttons. Now the third is the checkbox. To understand the concept of checkbox, we'll include one more field, that is hobbies. We'll ask the user to select the hobbies he does. So there can be more than one hobbies. So in this the name attribute should be different. It is necessary. It should be hobbies. Okay, so label. Okay, first we'll input in this. So type checkbox, then name art, label art, line break, input, type checkbox, name cooking, label cooking, line break, input, type checkbox, name reading, label reading, line break. Okay, now save it and see in the browser. Okay, so here's a list of checkboxes. So I like art, I also cook. So yes, we are able to select multiple entries, and if there's a mistake, then we are also able to unselect them. So this was all about the checkboxes. Now the next type is the submit type. So without the submit type, you cannot actually submit the form. That's why it is the most important uh, input type. So let's make a submit button now. So just type submit and name submit and write value. Okay, in the value attribute, just you need to write whatever you want in the button. So I will write submit. Now save it and see in the browser. Okay, so here's our submit button. So you, if you want to write hello world inside your not submit, then we can write hello world, save it. So as you can see, it's written hello world over here. So this is how the submit button is made. So this was about submit button. Now the fifth one is the reset button. Okay, so I want to also give my users a facility that they can reset all the inputted data. So type reset, name reset, value also reset. Also your value should be submit. Okay, now and one more line break over here. Now let's save it and see in the browser. So okay, there are our two buttons, submit and reset. So first I'll write Chandler, then Bing, now mail, then art cooking and submit. Then it will be submitted. Then again XYZ female cooking and reading. Now if I press reset, see our reset button is working. So this is all about submit and reset button. The sixth input type is a button, just a simple button. So you can connect that button with the backend or the JavaScript and make that button do any task you want. So for example, if you type button, name button and value XYZ, save it and open in browser. So as you can see, here's our new button XYZ. So this is but it won't do anything because we haven't linked it with any of the function, so it is useless. So I am taking out for now. Okay, so the seventh is email. If I want my users to first input a username, user ID, like email account, so email ID and line break. Now in the input type I will type email and name email. Okay, and just line break and save it and see in the browser. Okay, so here XYZ, and we will submit. It won't accept it because it will give an error that please include at the rate. So if we write just at the rate, again it won't submit because it's incomplete. So abc.com, now if we submit, it won't show an error. So this is what email type do. It will check it will check the inputted data if it is right and sufficient to become an email address. So this is what email do. We can also write a placeholder to specify, okay, abc at the rate xyz.com. So this is our placeholder, and let's see in the browser. So as you can see, here's our placeholder. So if we write a wrong email, it won't let us submit the form. So this is the task of type email. Okay, now the seventh type is password. So we need a password if we are keeping an email ID or username. So let's give password over here and line break, then input type password. Okay, so password will basically won't show anything typed inside it. For example, let's save it and I'll show you the output. Password. So if we write anything, it won't show the text. So this is the job of the password. It won't show anything. Okay. So in password there is no placeholder. So this was the password. Now let's discuss about type date. So if I want to add an attribute known as date of birth over here, date of birth, line break, and input type. If we type your date, then it would let us select the date. So let's see in the browser. Okay, so here is this. This is the syntax of selecting date, month, day, and year. So it will. This is how the date attribute will show us the type date. It will let us select any date in any year. So as you can see, you can select the year before and after both, and the month like this, and the date like this. Okay, so the year is wrong, so I will change the year 2001. Okay, so again we need to say, okay, so this is my birth date. So this is how in every browser this won't be the default. It will change. The appearance of date type will change with each and every type of browser. So this is what Chrome shows. So it's best in Chrome till I know. So these were the common types of input element that are used. For more information, I will share a link in the description. If you want to see more input types, then you can visit that site. Okay, so this was the end of this lecture. Up till now we have covered the label element and the input element only. In the next video I will tell you about the remaining form elements. Okay guys, thanks for watching.